I'm Alison, I'm 36 and I've been sewing for about 3 years. I first got interested in sewing about 6 years ago when I was pregnant with my first daughter. I really wanted to make some baby blankets, so I kind of looked at videos on YouTube, but I just couldn't really kind of get going with it. About 3 years ago, I took sewing classes. That was when I really got a love for sewing. I started off making clothes for my own children and I got a lot of compliments from people, more confident with patterns and fabrics and just knowing what I was doing. My day job is the complete opposite. It's very intellectual. This is something, it just gives me that creative outlet. I saw a poster for the Sewing Bee socials up in a place where I was taking my daughter to a toddler group, and I thought, wow, that would be amazing. I could make some friends who like sewing too. And I just loved it from the very start. It was just fantastic to be able to go along to a group, to meet other people who were just interested in the same kind of thing. We can talk about children. It's definitely a sense of community. I had so many great friends there.
My name is Maria Plumridge, I'm 55 and I've been sewing for nearly 45 years, if not more.
Wow, long time.
Very long time. My grandmother, who was a lovely Italian lady, used to sew and crochet and knit. She taught me to sew from a very young age. I was a very well-fed child and fashion wasn't available for well-fed children. I wanted to wear all the fashionable clothes the same as my friends did, so I started to make my own clothes. I left home when I was 16 and my grandmother sent me out of the door with a single bed and a Singer sewing machine. I think it was only last year that it finally broke down, and it broke my heart when it lasted that long. Good old Singer. There is something about sewing that is so difficult to explain. You sit in front of a sewing machine and all of a sudden the world sort of disappears. It's like being with a really good friend. I always think of my nan when I sew, and I would love to be able to say, look what I've made, Nan, and talk to her about it and just learn more from her. The Sewing Bee is a permanent date in my diary now. It's one that, unless something really drastic happens, I will definitely be there. For somebody to say to me, are you coming? It just made you, oh, somebody wants to meet me. That's lovely. So you go along and everybody's pleased to see you. To find out that there is this community out there that actually loves doing what you enjoy doing, it's amazing. And going to talk to people and increasing your knowledge, that is wonderful and great to be part of something.
My name's Shirley and I'm just 58 and I've been sewing more or less all my life. So when we were growing up, my mum used to do lots of dressmaking for myself and my younger sister. It did inspire me. I started making things for myself. Made some pretty hideous garments. I wanted something to wear to a school disco. I'd actually make myself a little dress or something. Still a hobby, and I went off to Polytechnic then, and I spent the whole of my first term's grant on a sewing machine. I just blew it. So, you know, that now should have said, actually, you are doing the wrong thing, you know? And then when I finished, went out and worked for Laura Ashley for 3 years. I guess major change came after I had my 2 children. I decided not to go back to the career I had before. So I did a degree in costume making. Then I came out, worked as wardrobe mistress, did that for 6 years. But somewhere along the line, I think it stopped being quite so much fun. I do like to make my own clothes. I guess one of the most special dresses that I've made is my wedding dress. It was actually quite a difficult dress to make because the fabric was quite tricky. I had one layer of a sort of a silky fabric and then I had lace on top, and it was a drop waist style. I was just really proud of it, and again it was something completely different. You know, it wasn't like wedding dresses, other wedding dresses that were in fashion at the time. It was actually really quite different.
My name's Amy, I'm 28 and I've been sewing for about 24 years-ish. I grew up with a lot of women around me, and it was my great grandmother who taught me to sew. I spent a lot of time with her when I was very young. I learnt on her Singer 427, which is, yeah, it was a fantastic machine to learn on. It's so kind of ingrained in my life that I feel like I've been doing it forever. At the age of 13 I got bought my first kind of proper sewing machine, and something that really sticks out was because it was god awful. I had a pair of dungarees and a pair of blue camouflage trousers, and I altered the dungarees to have these big camouflage flares in them, which at the time I thought were amazing, but looking back probably not my best fashion choice. I did a lot when I was in my sort of young teens. I guess that kind of slowed down a little bit when I went to uni, and then in my last year of uni and when I just graduated, I found a real love of it again. I did suffer quite badly with mental health issues when I graduated, and I found that sewing and creating in general really helped me to feel positive about the world around me. Just being able to create things is, I think, very rewarding. There's been studies recently that show that repetitive movement can really help with depression, so knitting, crochet, sewing, things like that are really helpful. It just makes me very happy. The thought process for me when creating usually starts with a fabric. I'll see a fabric that inspires me, and it usually immediately gives me an idea of the shape or the type of garment that I'd like to make. At the moment I'm working on a 50s inspired prom dress. I'm really enjoying the process of creating it, although the lace top layer is quite difficult to work with because it's stretchy. It's lovely to see that you've made such a difference to someone's day, and that they've really got exactly what they wanted out of you, and you know, that's been a big part of a wedding, or even for a prom. It's a massive part of a prom, having the perfect dress to go in. It's a really amazing feeling to see people wearing your creations, and especially when they say that they've had compliments on it and you know that you've made that.